You're listening to School Counseling Simplified, a podcast with easy-to-implement strategies for busy school counselors. Here's your host, Rachel Davis from Bright Futures Counseling.
Hey listeners, let me let you in on a little secret. You don't have to stress about planning your class lessons, small groups, and individual sessions anymore. My school counseling membership program, Impact, is here to help. So, what do Impact members get? Monthly curriculum plans across all 3 tiers, SEL lessons, small groups, individual, and seasonal activities, step-by-step video implementation guides, bi-weekly Zoom coaching calls with me, and exclusive Facebook group community. This membership is designed for school counselors who want to deliver the best possible content to their students, but who also want to just press the easy button. You'll get access to monthly curriculum plans, resources, support, and community so you can deliver quality, engaging, life-changing counseling lessons to your kiddos. So what do you think? Are you ready to make an impact? Join today at stressfreeschoolcounseling.com/impact. Hey there, thanks for listening to another episode of School Counseling Simplified. So it is October, which means it is Bullying Prevention Month. Now you may be thinking, what? I didn't know this, and that's totally okay. I feel like every month, is a different cause to bring awareness to, and while it would be amazing to celebrate all of them, sometimes that might not be realistic. So, take a look at the causes that you think are most relevant to your school population, and you can choose a few to celebrate during the year and do a few special events for. It makes it really memorable for the kiddos. So Bullying Prevention Month is one that I've always done since I first started counseling. I am passionate about this cause because working with elementary school students, I believe prevention is everything. So teaching them the skills they need to know to prevent bullying in elementary school will hopefully prevent it from happening not only in elementary school, but later in middle school and high school when it can get really dangerous. And like all things school counseling, I think the preventative and proactive piece is so amazing because it allows us to feel in control. I know I like to feel that way, and it feels like I can, positively affect something before a lot of negative comes from it, if that makes sense. So basically, I'd rather, do some bullying prevention awareness activities instead of having, cases of bullying constantly coming to my office. Bullying prevention, it got a lot of buzz the last few years, and a lot of, tabloids and magazines, news channels have really showcased horrific bullying incidents, where students take their own lives and really horrible things. And it's kind of been sensationalized almost. And then in an effort to spread awareness on bullying, I think a lot of times people are calling things bullying that are not bullying, which is dangerous as well, right? So that's why I think it's really important to really clarify the terminology around bullying, to really define bullying and how it is different than just mean behavior, how to tell students the differences between tattling versus reporting. There's a lot of different things you can do here, and you can get really deep and really complex. So like I said, I'll be speaking mostly to the elementary level here because that's where most of my experience is, although I have done this at middle and a little bit at high school levels as well. But for the sake of this episode, we'll be primarily around elementary, but you can tweak it to fit your kiddos' needs. So a few things for Bullying Prevention Month that I recommend. I want to talk to you about 4 areas here. So first are some school-wide activities you can do, then some videos, some games, and then I'll share with you some free resources that you can access to use at your school site. Okay, guys, first up, school-wide activities. So school-wide activities they take a little planning and can be a little tricky with scheduling and getting everyone on board, but they're so worth it and so fun, and primarily because they're just super memorable for the kiddos. Whenever we do something at school that's kind of unique or out of the daily routine, the kids, are more likely to remember it. If you reflect on your own school experience, I'm sure you can remember. I'm thinking of we had a luau one time, or we had a stargazing, constellation thing. The tent came in. That was really cool. So if you think about your own childhood or your own school experiences, those special moments are more likely to stand out, I'm sure. So I try to create those special moments to students, especially when I'm trying to teach them something. So maybe they're more likely to retain it. So one way to do that is with fun school-wide activities. Now, don't be intimidated by these, even if it's your first year, because you can get help from a committee or from like student ambassadors. That's great people who can help with this. So some examples of school-wide activities I recommend doing are a fun run. So a fun run is exactly that. You just have kids do laps. So we would do this at like recess. We'd bring some music out, the big speaker, and then we would have the kids pledge a number of laps that they wanted to run, in honor of Bullying Prevention Month. So they'd be like, I'm going to pledge 10 laps against bullying. And then I even ordered some like cool wristbands, and what else did I order? I think stickers and wristbands that were like bullying prevention themed, like be a buddy, not a bully, and little slogans like that we had the kids. They could get one if they participated. So that was fun. We used some character ed funding we had to buy those, but they were really inexpensive. I'm sure you could find something similar on Amazon as well. And it was just a really fun event, like a fun thing to do. And kids would come by like, what's this all about? We tell them, oh, it's Bullying Prevention Month. And then we had actual pledges that they could sign, committing to not bullying. And then we had a big banner that they could sign. So a big banner is another thing you could do. These are a great way to spread awareness throughout the school. So have kiddos, sign a banner. They can do their handprints. You can use paint, lots of colors, make it fun. And then you can hang it somewhere in the school as a visible reminder of what their commitment is. So, maybe if they're starting to engage in some bullying behavior, they pass the banner in the hall and then they're like, ooh, I remember, that this is Bullying Prevention Month. Perhaps you could even leave it up all year round. Another thing you could do is one of those paper chains. Now, I committed to one of these. I used to love to make these with my sister. We would count down to holidays and stuff. But those, of course, were only 30. We would do a month out. So 30 little paper strips. I thought this would be a good idea to do with all the students, but I had hundreds of little paper strips I then had to assemble. So make sure you have an intern or some student ambassadors to help with this project. But it's a really cool visual way to see all the kids' names who committed to being, bully free. And then you can hang it around the school as well. So I love things like this. It's a really visual, tactile reminder of what you're doing. Another school-wide activity that is super fun and inexpensive to do is a photo booth. So I'm sure you've been to a wedding or something recently. Those photo booths are kind of all the rage. You can get photo booth props, again, like Amazon or Oriental Trading, pretty inexpensive. Or you could even make them yourself, using some construction paper. Maybe this is something you could do with student ambassadors or in one of your small groups if you have a little extra time, something fun. Or you could even add it on to the end of class lessons that month to get all the kids involved. But you could have photo booth props and then just put up a piece of paper, a butcher paper or wrapping paper or something cool as a background, a backdrop. And then you have kiddos come and take pictures. And the props, you can do funny stuff like sunglasses and mustaches. But you can also have signs that say I'm bully free, or I choose not to bully, or I'm an upstander, not a bystander. And they can hold these props in the photos. So what we did is we took them on a school iPad, and we actually had kiddos pay $1, I think, to get a photo. And then we donated the money. So you could donate it to a bullying prevention cause or any other relevant fundraiser of your choice. So that was a really cool thing. The kids had a lot of fun. We did that at recess. So those are some examples for school-wide activities that you can conduct. And again, they take a little extra work, but they're so much fun. So it's the second week of October, so it's not too late. So I really encourage you to try out one of these. And you could even kind of make it fall or Halloween themed if you want to, since it's October. Your photo booth could even have Halloween props. That could be fun. Okay, next up are videos. So I love showing videos just to, reinforce a point. Again, I think they're memorable. Kids love videos and they remember them. So you can use videos in a class lesson with your small group, or you can even show them to individuals. But I think a class lesson is a great place to start. So, for example, I love, and I'll link to all of these in the show notes, but the Ned Show. That's a great little animated video series on how to be an upstander versus a bystander. So, a lot of times the older bullying terminology was bystanders are people who aren't directly involved. So kiddos may think that's a good choice, but being an upstander and actually standing up or reporting the behavior is better than simply bystanding. So that's a great one to reinforce that concept. For the little kids, so if we're talking like K, first grade, maybe even some second graders, the concept of bullying prevention may be a little hard to grasp. So I just like to focus on kindness as a preventative measure. One of my favorite videos to show is the Pixar film called For the Birds, and it's animated and it's just music. There's no words. So it's cool to get the kids to interpret what they think is happening. It's kind of like these birds who are picking on another bird. So that's a good example. I love to use that one. I use it, and you could use it with kindness, social skills, friendships, bullying prevention. Because it doesn't have words, you can kind of modify it to fit your needs. So that's one of my go-tos for sure. And then I have a few other videos I'm going to link to, but I will say these are geared more toward older kids. They definitely will stick with you some more. They're powerful, but they can be kind of tough to watch. Like one of them is about a talent show where this girl's reading off all the mean things people said to her, but she's actually reading it out loud. And that's kind of intense. So I would be careful of who you show these to. Again, you want to make sure that you're not encouraging kids to do these things, but rather sharing these in an effort to be preventative. So like I said, videos are a go-to for me. I usually use videos in all of my class lessons. YouTube's a great place to start. I have a blog post on some of my favorite YouTube videos. I think all of these are in that post as well, just because I know you can go down a YouTube rabbit hole or it's hard to find, like relevant school appropriate stuff sometimes. So I compiled a little list of some of my favorite go-to videos to use. And I would love to know yours. If you have suggestions, please let me know and we can add them to the post so we can all share. Okay, so those are your school-wide activities and your videos that I recommend. Next up are games. So like videos, I think games are a super engaging way to get kids involved when we're teaching a new concept. We want them to, remember certain like terminology around bullying, or we want them to understand, the different roles people play. So that's why I think games are perfect for this. So first up, I have a role play for you. So role play is one of my favorite ways to get students to really empathize with people and to practice what they would do in certain situations. So you can come up with your own role play scenarios. You can have kids come up with their own role play scenarios. Or I have a freebie for you that I'll link to in the show notes. It's some little bullying prevention role play scenario cards. So you could pass them out and then kids can, have a few minutes to rehearse and then act out their role play to practice bullying prevention. Now, I will say a few things to keep in mind. It is important to have different kiddos practice different roles. You don't want to make the same student the bystander or the same student the bully every time, because we're not trying to send them a message that they are a bully or a target, but rather that, we all have been in positions where we've maybe bullied before or been a victim of bullying. So, like I said, I love role play. I think it's super effective and the kids love it. It's like a little acting out for them. So I have a freebie for you. We'll link to it in the show notes, or you can go to brightfutures-counseling.com/Halloween freebie because it is Halloween themed. Another game I like to do with students are board games. So board games are fun, like discussion cards. So I have one of these in my TPT store, but you can roll the die. The kids land on different spaces and then they have to, either go back because it's a bullying scenario or move forward because they responded the correct way to bullying, or name a bullying prevention strategy, something like that. So it's just a fun way to get kids thinking. Everybody loves a board game. And then a salad bowl game. So this one is like a DIY game you can play. All you need is a bowl and some pieces of paper. Now, I played this at a party just with some friends, and we played a non-bullying prevention version. Obviously, we played like with celebrities or something, or pop culture words. But I was playing and I was like, oh, this is fun. I should think of a way to modify this to play with kids. So it's around bullying prevention. So what you do, I'm going to try to explain it here. It is kind of tricky. I do have written directions in my TPT store along with like some suggested cards. So, but again, you don't have to buy it. You can totally make this yourself, but I'll try my best to explain it here. So it's a salad bowl game is what it's called because you're holding the salad bowl. So there's 3 rounds, and students are going to either write a bullying prevention word on a card, or you can already have them written out. I kind of recommend that because it's harder for them to come up with it. So for example, you would have a word like bully or bystander or reporting on a card, okay? Or cyberbullying, something like that. You can get specific. So you're going to have those cards, and then they're in the bowl. So the kids are in two teams. One team draws a card. So let's say they draw cyberbullying. They're going to use as many words as they need to describe what the word is on the card. So they'll say, oh, it's the type of bullying that takes place online or on your computer. Pretty easy, right? And the other group will say, ooh, cyberbullying. Take it out. Keep going. They're trying to get through as many cards as they can. Or to their own group. They're reading it to their own group and they're guessing. Yes. So then round 2 is a little difficult. You use the same card. So they're already familiar with the words. But this time they can only use one word to describe it. So you grab out cyberbullying card, and this time you would just say computer. And that's all you can say. And they can say it as many times as they need to, but they can't say any more words. But remember, the kids have already heard this term, so they may remember, oh, computer, cyberbullying. But this round is tricky. Then you put the same words back in the bowls. Then for the third round, it's acting out. So this time, no words at all. So you start with using as many words as you want. Then in round 2, you can only use one word. And then in round 3, you cannot use any words, but you can act. So the kids would act out cyberbullying. So maybe they're like acting like they're texting or on a computer or something. So that's just a fun game. I really like to use it. And it's a cool way to really practice that terminology. And terminology matters because, you know, for example, we like to say the word target instead of victim, things like that. So we're trying to teach them new words like upstander as well. So I love games. Those are all so much fun. And like I said, another way to just make it engaging and memorable for the kiddos. Lastly, I have some free resources and websites for you to check out. So stopbullying.gov is like a government website with a lot of resources. There's kidstakeonbullying.com. They have like a challenge on there for students that is cool, and an educator guide. So I definitely encourage you to check out that one. And then my favorite, particularly regarding cyberbullying, is Common Sense Media. This website's just fantastic. But yeah, Common Sense Media, they have an educator guide as well. Always have parent guides too, I believe. And they just have like a wealth of free information, lessons, videos, lesson plans you can sort by grade level. Super, super cool resource that I'm constantly using as well. So I hope you found these helpful. I hope you have an awesome Bullying Prevention Month. I can't wait to see what you're up to. Tag me at Bright Futures Counseling on Instagram. If you're doing something cool, I would love to see it. Don't forget to download that freebie, those Halloween role play scenarios I have for you. I also have a blog post that has some similar ideas to these that I think you may find helpful as well. So we'll link to it in the show notes too. Okay, guys, I hope you have an awesome Bullying Prevention Month.
Thanks for listening to School Counseling Simplified. You can find the links from today's episode in the show notes. If you'd like to connect with Rachel, she's on Instagram and Teachers Pay Teachers at Bright Futures Counseling. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any episodes of School Counseling Simplified. Talk to you next week.